morning, everyone, and welcome to our next iteration of Salute to Industry with Sean Passmore from Wells Fargo. Welcome to our Friday edition. I hope everybody's doing great today. Sean, thank you for taking time today to spend with us here at VetJobs on this great, wonderful Friday here. I'm in St. Louis, and it's a beautiful sunny day. Appreciate you being here. Sean, I have a couple questions for you today. Why don't you just go ahead and quickly introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. Thank you, Sandy. And Fridays are amazing, but I will tell you, any day that we get to talk about veterans is a great day. So I'm super appreciative of the invitation from VetJobs and to do the Salute to Industry series, and happy to talk to you, Sandy. You introduced me already, Sean Passmore. I'm the head of military talent strategic sourcing at Wells Fargo. I also wear the hat of our head of enterprise military and veterans initiatives. So a lot of great work that a lot of people are doing here at Wells Fargo. And I'm incredibly privileged and feel very honored to be able to represent a lot of that hard work.
Great. Looking forward to it. So, Sean, in the Army, we said everybody has a story. And, whenever we stood in front of soldiers, troopers, anywhere in the world, we always told our Army story. So what's your story? You served in the military, you're a veteran. You obviously didn't go straight to Wells Fargo. How'd you find Wells Fargo? What drew you to Wells Fargo? What's your story?
Well, I don't know if I have a unique story. Army stories only have to be 10% true, right? Isn't that what we say? So I served 22 and a half years. I retired in 2014. I was a prior enlisted guy. I was a non-commissioned officer. I went to OCS. I retired as a major. So I had three very different career fields when I served in the military. And so this type of work and working with veterans as they transition out and they kind of have this idea of maybe they're a jack of all trades and master of none. I can certainly relate to that. I'm able to connect with just about any veteran coming out, whether they've done 2 or 3 years as a junior enlisted service member, up to 30 plus year colonels, flag officers. And so I have a lot of sympathy and a lot of empathy for this transition that folks are going through. I love the work that I do, but I will tell you maybe less about my story, but let me tell you a little bit, I think, about the story of Wells Fargo, because it was about not Wells Fargo, but Wells Fargo's commitment to veteran hiring. It was probably 6 or 7 years ago, Sandy, that Wells Fargo really became committed to building this veteran hiring program. And they were one of these companies that was sending people to conferences and conventions. They were one of these companies that was doing the research into veteran employment, collecting best practices from companies that were really leaders in this space because they wanted to do it the right way. And that's what they did. They made a commitment, but they didn't just state the commitment to hiring veterans. They really designed a very thoughtful program. And more importantly, I think they committed the needed resources to actually manage the program. And and I think a lot of people recognize that companies don't invest in things that they don't value. And Wells Fargo at that time made a very significant investment to start their military hiring program. So when the opportunity came around for me to join the team in 2020, I absolutely jumped at that chance. It was not an opportunity for me to come in and build something new, but it was an opportunity for me to take a program that was off to a fantastic start and then grow it into something extraordinary, which is what I think we have today. That's what we've done. The military talent strategic sourcing team, it started with less than a handful of people. When I joined the team, it had grown to about a dozen people. And now I lead a team of more than 30 people that are all 100% dedicated to attracting, recruiting, coaching, mentoring, engaging, onboarding. The whole veteran candidate life cycle is what we deal with. And so I can't do that. We can't do that without significant support from the senior most leaders in the organization. And that's what attracted me to Wells Fargo then. And that's really what continues to be the driving factor behind the success of my team and our programs.
That's fantastic. That's it's a wonderful story to hear about employers, companies, senior leaders in corporate America that desire to support the veteran community and see the value in veterans and what they bring to their organization. So that's very heartwarming to hear that about Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo, you stepped into a team, excuse me, that has been quite successful. I believe 11,000 veterans since 2016 or something like that. And you've got multiple facets to your veteran program. You've got apprenticeships, you've got boots to banking. Kind of break that down. What is your veteran employee resource group's name, and what are the parts to your program?
Well, I would tell you, Sandy, to say that Wells Fargo has a veteran hiring program is to say that Wells Fargo has 5 military hiring programs. And I talked about these dedicated resources that we have. I'm not managing all of these off the side of my desk. Each program that we have has a dedicated program manager,
Oh, wow. Okay.
a dedicated team to support that. Each program focuses on a different talent profile of military job seeker, focuses on different skill sets that we need within the business. You mentioned Boots to Banking. Boots to Banking was the first program that we started. When I talked about 6 or 7 years ago, that's what Wells Fargo built, was Boots to Banking. And Boots to Banking is a great entryway into financial services for veterans who may not see themselves in financial services. And by the way, it's only about 11% of veterans exiting the military that even consider financial services. So a lot of work from the team to solve that problem. We have another program is called our VET internship. That's an acronym, Veteran Employment Transition. Right. This is an internship that we run twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. It's not an internship like you would think of, like a college internship where students come in, do an internship, and then go back to school. This is an internship where the veterans, many of them coming out of the military, some of them have previous corporate experience already, but they're coming to Wells Fargo. It's a competitive process. They have to apply, they have to interview, and we place them in these internship positions. And at the end of the internship, based on their performance, those just convert right to full-time employment. They don't have to reapply and recompete, right? Where an intern goes to school, these veterans are just transitioning after the internship into full-time employment. Our apprenticeship program is a Department of Labor certified apprenticeship program. This is our highest touch, longest term, very structured development apprenticeship program. I think sometimes veterans hear the word apprentice and they kind of shut down. They're like, I don't want to be apprentice. But these are not at all entry-level positions. Right. We have 12-month apprenticeship, 24-month apprenticeship. In fact, we're just about to start. We're about to onboard almost 30 veterans through our apprenticeship program who are going to go through a 24-month program. And at the end of this, they're going to be branch managers. So when you drive by a Fargo branch on the street corner, you're like, hey, there's probably a veteran who came through our apprenticeship program that may be managing that. And so that's a program where they'll play every position in the branch. They'll do a rotation, learn how to be a teller. They'll do a rotation to be a personal banker. They'll do a rotation to learn how to be the operations manager of that branch. And then, right as a branch manager, and then they'll finish the program.
And that's 24 months?
The branch manager program is a 24-month program. Many of our apprenticeship programs are 12-month programs. I have apprentices, Sandy. I have apprentices on my team in military talent sourcing. So we have talent sourcers who were they may have been military recruiters when they were serving, but there was a gap, right? They have never been a corporate recruiter. So the apprenticeship program closes that gap. They know how to recruit. They maybe aren't familiar with the tools and the techniques and some of the compliance issues in recruiting in a bank. So we run them through an apprenticeship program, and that's a 12-month program. And like I said, I have a few talent sourcer apprentices on my team. We have a military spouse program that I think we'll talk about on another interview. And then we have, Boots to Banking, VET, apprenticeship. We do the corporate fellowship program in partnership with Hiring Our Heroes. And I think people are familiar. That's a flavor of SkillBridge. And so while not a hiring program, we do participate in all 3 cohorts, and we'll bring between 12 and 15 fellows in with each cohort. And probably around 2/3 of those find careers at Wells Fargo. The others find meaningful careers at other companies, and they were able to do that because we prepared them and helped them be successful in that career search as well.
So what I think I heard you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but for those veterans, those transitioning veterans, those other veterans that are out there that are, what is this animal called Wells Fargo? You described an apprenticeship program, internship program, whatever you want to call it, that is 12 months and 24 months. And it's not just for analytics or accounting type. There's other roles at Wells Fargo, which is what everybody needs to understand. You have multiple roles. You've got IT, you've got cyber, you've got branch managers, I heard you say. And you are more than just analytics and bank tellers and business representatives, correct?
Absolutely. And, it's really, it's challenging for big banks like Wells Fargo and the other big banks and other financial services companies, because I mentioned how few veterans are actually thinking about financial services. And this is common. I think it's common for people to project whatever their perception as a client or a customer of a company. They'll project that perception onto that organization as an employer. And so you might not think of Ford and Toyota, for example, as companies that do anything other than manufacture and sell automobiles. And if you don't want to make and sell cars and trucks, you probably don't see Ford and Toyota as a place that you could work or would want to work. And so the same is true with financial services. And I suspect it's because people don't see themselves in the roles that they recognize from their interactions with their bank. And these client-facing roles obviously are extremely important to any bank as they serve their community. But it sure does take a lot more than tellers and personal bankers to run an organization that has products and services in one of every 3 American households and about 250,000 employees. And so I will tell you, at Wells Fargo, we have veterans working in about 800 different jobs in every single line of business, in every business unit. And you mentioned some of these, right? There's anything from HR professionals, lawyers, data scientists, auditors, people working in risk and compliance, because financial services is very closely regulated. There's careers in logistics, contracting, acquisitions, people to do, vendor relationship management. I think a lot of people are surprised when they find out that Wells Fargo's technology business is actually bigger than a lot of or most technology companies. And so the list goes on and on and on. And Sandy, it's really my team's job to connect with these veteran career seekers, let them know, one, we understand them, we value them, and we want to help them understand where they might fit within our organization based on the skills and experience they gained in the military. Because as I mentioned, it may not be immediately evident to them where they could be a good fit.
Right. That's incredible. So do you still attend a lot of military events, hiring events at installations, posts, and bases, or have you toned that down? Have you gone more virtual for connections into the veteran space? How are you drawing veterans to you? How are you getting out there and doing that?
Well, we have a veteran serving organization relationship strategy. There's close to 24 VSOs like VetJobs and military spouse jobs that we maintain very close relationships with. You guys know how to refer candidates to us. We know how to get a hold of you to advertise our career opportunities when they're hot. The same is true with military bases. There's 22 military bases that we're maintaining very close relationships with, communicate frequently, have employees, maybe not even on my team, Wells Fargo employee who's local in a market, who can be an extension of my team and be the face of Wells Fargo on that military base, attend the TAPS classes, get in front of career seeking and transitioning veterans and military spouses. We do that. The events fluctuate, Sandy. I mean, obviously during COVID, everybody was doing virtual only. We're now probably closer to 50-50, right? Just big fat numbers. We're probably doing about 100 virtual events a year, 100 in-person events a year. So my team can get on the road and have face-to-face conversations with people. And we continue to monitor the value those deliver and the return on that investment.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's a big task. I certainly can understand that, monitoring and determining the value piece.
Yeah.
I've been to numerous events myself, and it's.
Yeah. And I'll tell you the other thing, Sandy, because my team is so large and I'm resourced the way I am and organized the way I am, we're able to provide a candidate experience that I think a lot of other companies just aren't capable, right? We can have these kneecap to kneecap conversations, and we can coach and mentor on resumes, and we can do mock interviews and really prepare the veterans that are working with my team to showcase themselves as proactive, as well researched. And I have veterans that are working with my military talent strategic sourcing team are 4 times more likely to get an offer than veterans who are just going to our career site and applying for jobs. And so as we're looking at events, I pay special attention to, and we're probably gonna dial back the in-person events in the back half of this year, because I don't want to attract more veteran career seekers and more leads or prospects than I can provide that quality experience.
Yeah.
So this is, I mean, look, we have a lot of quantity, right? We're attracting 5,000 applications a month, somewhere around there, from veterans. I don't want to attract more veterans than I can provide that experience for.
Yeah, that's a great point. So I want to close here, and the last question I have, or I'll offer for comments, is what is it about Wells Fargo that would make me, as a veteran after 30 years, I'm retiring, what would make me want to desire or tweak my interest to go to Wells Fargo? You got great benefits. What's a day in the life like? Obviously you have opportunities that span the spectrum of workforce development, from HR all the way to, banking and analytics and other things, logistics. So why Wells Fargo? That's the question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we look at our employee benefits, people can research those. I would say, they're competitive and on par with what you might expect from other companies our size. But really, I think I would restate some of the things we've already mentioned. One, Wells Fargo is a place that understands veterans and the value they bring to our organization. And we're proactively seeking to add veterans to our workforce. And we're not just saying those things. We've made that significant investment that I've talked about. We've dedicated the resources to attract, recruit, coach, advocate. But what I would add, something we haven't really talked about yet, is the expectations for employees at Wells Fargo. We have 6 of them, right? So it's embrace candor, learn and grow, be great at execution, champion diversity and inclusion, do what is right, and build high-performing teams. And I would say that these are the same expectations that guide how military service members lead themselves.
That resonates.
Yeah, and there's no better place for Wells Fargo to find people with those traits than in the United States military. And if a veteran wants to leverage those traits to be successful in corporate America, Wells Fargo is a great place for them to do that.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, Sean, I thank you for your time today, and I really appreciate you joining us on our Salute to Industry video series. And look forward to seeing you again at a future board meeting. And wish you the best out there with Wells Fargo, and hope you can hire some more veterans.
Thanks, Sandy. I appreciate the conversation.
Yep. Have a great weekend.
You as well.